I'm gonna need some more energy, babe. Spook-tober. 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 Spook-tober number 2. How are you doing?
This week on Spook-tober, we drop the deuce.
Poop. Vow, view, vow, view, vow, view, vow, view,
Vow to view, vow, 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 vow to view, vow to view each other's movies, even though we don't always like them, but it's okay because we love each other and movies too.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Vow to View, your Doof Media podcast, all about marriage and the things Scott makes me watch. My name is Elyse Daly.
And I'm Scott Daly.
And together,
we're the
Dailies.
Dailies. Yes, this is the podcast where each and every week,
Scott,
my wife Elyse, and I pick a movie and make each other watch it. Then we sit in front of a microphone and we talk about it, and most importantly, ourselves. This week, Spook-tober continues. The month where I forced Elyse to watch scary movies, and she comes up with very interesting distractions to do while she's watching them, like grade papers.
you know, papers gotta be graded.
Sure, babe.
It's true.
Sure.
Why didn't you offer to help grade them? That way I didn't have to devote as much paper designated concentration time.
Because I was watching the movie.
Yeah, well, you could have helped me, and then I could have watched more of the movie.
Or you could have just done it later and watched the movie.
No, it's not possible to do that.
I don't think that's true. Elyse, scary movies. You don't like them. Making you watch them.
I don't like them.
This
You
one-
know, and I've been telling people that we're watching scary movies because it's October, and every time that I tell someone, they're like, ugh, I don't like scary movies. And I ask them, why do they not like scary movies? And it's the same reason I don't like scary movies.
What reason is that, Elyse?
It just gets stuck in their head, and they don't stop thinking about them, and then it just terrifies them.
Well, they need to separate reality from fiction.
Or maybe they just are doing what they're supposed to do and not watch them.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that what you're going to go with?
Yep. So after October, no more scary movies ever again.
I don't know about that.
It's true.
Well, we don't have like a opening segment to do anymore.
I know. I asked you at dinner time, what should we do? And you said, I don't know, Elyse, I guess we don't need to do anything. And I thought to myself, oh, we got to do something, because otherwise, what are we going to talk about?
I don't know, Elyse. Why is your impression of my voice
Yeah.
sound like a dum-dum?
It doesn't sound like a dum-dum.
It does.
Why?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's good. You I don't have a very low voice, but you go low when you do an impression of me. I mean, it's lower than
Well,
yours.
you
yeah.
go low. I go high.
But
Yep.
you don't though.
Well,
You go low.
My
though.
voice is high. I don't know. Yeah.
Elyse, let's just move.
Yes, Scott. That's not even you. That's just
I don't know who that is. Let's move right into our roses.
and the thornies.
Every rose has its thorn,
Has its thorn.
just like every night has its dawn.
Dawn, dawn, dawn.
Every cowboy sings a sad song. Every rose has its thorn. Yeah. Jesus. Yes, this is the part of the show where we talk about
The
good
highs.
and the lows.
Oh. Kind of hurt my throat a little bit.
Good. You deserve it.
That was pretty low, though, wasn't it?
It was great, babe.
It was really good.
Elyse.
That wasn't as low. How do you... The bad part is I'm like trying to make, like, thinking that my body posture makes it go
Yeah, I
lower.
mean,
so it's like
the thing that's a shame about audio podcasts is the people at home can't see
no, that
they can't see the things you're doing with your mouth right now and the things you're doing with your body. Her like,
what am I doing with my body?
Elyse, why don't you tell me what your rose is?
Oh my gosh. Well, you know, for as much as like all of my conference was stressful this week, I just had one really nice parent come in, and she just like spoiled me rotten and just gave me some Starbucks gift cards. And you know what? It was just so nice and thoughtful. Not for anything other than just being a great teacher.
You deserve it. You
I know,
deserve all
I
that
do.
Starbucks.
I do deserve it. So,
You ever
I just
notice
thought it
how
was
your
great.
roses and your thorns are always work related?
No, I didn't.
I think you're addicted to your job, Elyse.
I do work a lot. I actually did in my head how much I work on a daily basis. And I usually pull about a 10-hour work day.
A Scott daily basis.
A Scott daily basis?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, because it's daily. I'm a daily.
Yeah.
We're dailies.
I guess you're still learning that?
Yeah.
I don't,
I didn't get the joke.
wow.
But, you know, I also had a really good time with my sister this weekend that came in.
Yeah,
so
but that was last
2
week, so that
rosies.
doesn't count.
I know, but it was like the
You're double
anticipation was
dipping.
1
You're
week,
double
and then
rosing.
the actual, like, getting everything.
I don't know if this is allowed. I don't know. I don't like it.
You know what? It's all allowed. It's my rules in my world.
I don't think that's
We're all living in Elise's world.
that I could say is definitely true.
That is true. Welcome.
Welcome to Lisa's world.
She changes her posture. She sits straight up. She puts her
Because I have
shoulders
to
back.
get the diaphragm with the deep voice.
And she kind of like puts her hand like in her stomach a little
Not
bit.
all the time. I was just really watching the airflow that time.
Yeah,
you have to.
it's very important.
Yes, the airflow is important.
No, that was off.
I
Okay,
don't know
I
what
got to
you-
get it back.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing anymore.
Who-
No, we'll get it. I'll find it a little bit later again. I lost it. What? Hey, Scott, what's your Rosie? Is it my voices? My deep voice?
Absolutely
It's
not.
kind of hurting my throat. I probably should take a break from it for a while.
I agree. Just, for everyone's sake.
I mean, yeah.
You don't know what my rose is?
I do. What's your Rosie?
Riverdale!
Oh my gosh.
So we don't tell each other what these are before the show anymore, and I think it makes the show better because then we get authentic reactions. So the CW
The CW
show,
CW 33.
the CW show Riverdale came back tonight. We are recording this on October 10th, Wednesday night. We just finished watching it.
Yeah, we couldn't record until after we'd watched it.
Yeah.
Because that's what Scott said.
That's a lie.
It's true.
That's what you said.
No, it's what Scott said. Scott loves Riverdale so much.
I mean, that is true. It's my rose.
He's so glad that Archie was shirtless almost the entire episode.
He was.
Yep.
He was shirtless the entire episode. So for
Except when he had a bow tie.
For those of you that don't know, Riverdale is a teen drama on CW based very loosely off of Archie comics.
I think it's getting looser and
Yes.
looser as the
Archie-
seasons go on.
Archie comics. It is kind of, I think the best way to describe it is Twin Peaks meets Dawson's Creek. It is definitely
that.
teen drama, but also has like very like stylistically like supernatural weird stuff. Like they lean heavily into like a 50s vibe, while also like playing in horror. And like I think the first season was definitely like a kind of a noir murder mystery type thing. The second season was much more of horror. But the main thing, the thing that underlines all this, is the show is batshit insane. It is
That's true.
It is the epitome of trash TV,
Yes.
and I love every minute of it. Like
This is Scott's The Bachelor.
see, I don't believe in the term guilty pleasure because I don't think you should feel guilty about the things that you enjoy. That's
But you
dumb.
take great pleasure in watching this for all of its absurdity.
I laugh so much watching this show because it is
You left.
it is insane.
Can I share?
Sure.
He laughed so hard he farted.
It's so insane.
It's just like all of a sudden he starts laughing and then it's and then he laughs even harder because he did it.
It's so crazy. And the show I think has realized it's found its niche and it's really leaning into it. I love all of it. I love the fact that these people are supposed to be playing children and they don't look like kids at all.
No.
I love that it's getting into the supernatural stuff. The people that make the show are also making their version of Sabrina from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. but for Netflix. So it's not going to, there's unsure about how these shows are going to connect, but I think it's very clear what they're doing in the opening episode, that they're putting some heavy supernatural stuff in this season. It's going to get weird as hell and hopefully connect to the Netflix Sabrina, which comes out later this, is it later this month?
Yes, October the 26th.
There you go.
Takes place in Greendale.
Which is just
close
down the
to
road from
Riverdale.
Riverdale. Guys, watch this fucking ridiculous, crazy ass show. It is so good. I'm so happy it's back. I love this. There's also a podcast that goes episode by episode and examines this. It's called Cry Me a Riverdale. It's done by...
I'm so upset that they stole the name and we didn't think of it.
It's such a good name. It's done by Mikey Newman from Movies with Mikey. And it's really, really good. So watch Riverdale. Listen to Cry Me a Riverdale. And that's my rose because it's back and I'm so happy about it.
Did you watch Sabrina the Teenage Witch with Melissa Joan Hart?
I watched some of them. I would not say I watched the show, but I've definitely seen
I should have picked
episodes.
that. I used to watch that all the time when I was a kid. 96 to 03.
Too bad we're never covering television ever again.
We're never going to talk about it, guys. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Nope, never.
All right, Elyse,
Yes.
let's go negative. What is your thorn?
Okay. So I know Scott said my things are always work related.
Yep.
But
This is legitimate.
this is legit. So we have a lot of construction that's going on with our school because we're going through refurbishment. The rooms looked really nice at the beginning of the year, and they've been adding on this classroom extension because our school is growing so much. We needed more rooms. Anyways, they've been doing some roof work, and the covering that they had for the temporary part that they were working on the actual building so that it connected to the extension evidently did not hold over the weekend when there was rain. Therefore, 3 classrooms flooded. Mine was the 4th that was the least amount of damage because as soon as the other ones started to rain in their classroom, they decided to move all of my stuff. So I do have some leakage from the ceiling, but they moved all of my things so my teaching stuff didn't get damaged, thankfully. But my poor teammate, her whole teacher station just was covered in water. Like, she's having to get new books for like her planning. There were papers she was supposed to use that are just completely washed. Some of the kids' textbooks, we're going to have to get new ones. It's ridiculous. But it was a sunshiny day today.
Yeah, it was. And the weather's nice. I mean, I know there's this giant hurricane in other parts of the country, but it's nice and cool in Dallas.
And we are going to hope that they fixed all of the roofing issues and that we don't have any more.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you. There were some cabinet guys because, there's so many different
cabinets.
Different companies are doing the contracting thing or whatever, and they were the cabinet guys, and they were just walking. I have no idea what they were doing. I thought that the cabinets
Fixing
had
the shitty
properly
cabinets?
screwed the hinges on, but evidently they were going through and redoing them all, and they were talking about it, and they're like, man, these guys, it was like roofers, it's their one job to get the roof done right, and they didn't do it right, and they were like appalled by the fact that it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's so crazy that we could tell they did a shoddy job when we were moving all your stuff back in, just in general, like across the board. And
well, this was something that was done after, but yes, I guess it's the same sort of.
Yeah, I mean, the point is they hired a contractor that didn't do a very good job.
I mean, the guy that's overseeing it, the poor guy, he just felt absolutely awful.
Yeah, because it's his fault.
Yes.
Because he's the one in charge of making sure this stuff doesn't happen.
And I mean, like, they moved all of my stuff yesterday, and then they moved it back this morning before I even got there. It was 6:20 when I walked in the door, and they were already moving all of my stuff back and almost finished. Yeah. So, I mean, like, they've been there working hours upon hours. And, I mean, like, what was done before, it might have come together very quickly and not, like, 100% at its best, but I'm hoping that it gets there, and when it does, it will look beautiful, and I'm so very thankful that we're going through all of it. It's just,
you're being much nicer than I am.
Yeah,
I could tell that they were doing a crappy job when we were there, and a month and a half into the school year, the evidence of their crappy job becomes apparent.
It's very hard because doing it all while teaching is very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it was everyone dropped the ball about this whole thing. It happening when it did, the short time frame they had to work on it. It's screw ups across the board, and this is what happens. And I'm glad it wasn't your classroom. It sucks.
I'm so thankful it wasn't, and I feel bad, but at the same time, I'm so thankful. And then at the other time, there's another classroom at the other end of the school, and theirs didn't flood, and you almost wish that happened to them too, because then it could have been like,
Why?
at least we're all going through it together. But anyways, I'm just glad that my things weren't damaged.
That's good. I'm very happy for you.
Yes. But Scott,
Yes.
you got a thorny?
I don't have one.
You don't have a thorny?
I was sitting here before we started. I was trying to think of one, and then I said we're just going to start, and I'll come up with one on the fly. Life is good right now,
Dogs.
babe.
Anything bad with the dogs?
No, the dogs
Car.
are good.
Anything bad with your car?
Car's good.
Work. Anything bad with your work?
Work's fine.
Body pain. Anything on your body that's sore or bothering you?
Nope.
Any goals that you wanted to accomplish but you have not?
Nope. I mean, I'm behind in all my Doof Media work, but that's standard. I'm perpetually behind in all my Doof Media work, so it's okay. Still pumping these podcasts out. We're doing it. Living the dream.
I don't know. There's got to be something bad. Life can't be that great.
Life is wonderful.
Nah, you're just not wanting to say the real truth.
You tell me what my thorn is then, babe. You're
don't
declaring it. You tell me.
I don't know. What's your thorn? I don't know.
Okay. See, I don't have one.
What do we do?
This is like I feel like next week the thorn will come with a vengeance because I have a good enough life this week
that's right. You better knock on this wood. Knock on this fake wood.
It's not real.
I said knock on the fake wood.
Okay, I did it.
Good.
All right.
Yes.
Let's move on to the main event. It's time to talk scary movies once again. And I think, Elyse, I'm first this week. Am I not?
Yes, you were first this week, Scotty. And this week you made me watch...
I made you watch a movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. This is a 2016 movie written by Ian Goldberg and Richard Nag, directed by Andre Overdahl, who is a Norwegian director who directed the movie The Troll Hunter, and also is currently directing a movie called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which is an adaptation of an amazing scary story book that me and my cousin and my sister read. So I'm very excited to see what he has to do with that. I think Guillermo del Toro is involved with that one. It's pretty exciting. Anyway.
I don't know if I'm going to watch that.
This movie is about a father and son, both coroners, are pulled into a complex mystery while attempting to identify the body of a young woman who is apparently harboring dark secrets. So,
bum, bum, bum.
I saw this movie at Fantastic Fest 17?
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year's Fantastic Fest. I loved the movie then, and I have not watched it since I saw it until we did for this podcast. So this was another one of these moments where I was like, was I just like in the right frame of mind, in the right mood, with the right crowd?
You were. It wasn't that great. I'm just kidding. Sorry. Go ahead.
And yeah, I was not. I think this is a really, really good horror movie. I don't think this movie does anything particularly like new. I think it just takes its central idea and makes it does really good job with it. It's a very well structured movie. It stars Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, who are actors I both really enjoy, especially Emile Hirsch because he will always be Speed Racer to me.
What's the other guy in?
Brian Cox?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff.
A lot of horror stuff that I've never seen before.
No.
A lot of good things that I have seen before.
Well, he was in Adaptation. He played Robert McKee in Adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the X-Men series. He played William Stryker in X-Men 2, the guy who gave Wolverine his claws.
Maybe he just seemed to have had more weight on in this one.
I mean, he's a little bigger, yeah, but he's been in a whole bunch of stuff.
Maybe
I'm
he's
trying
just
to think.
older.
I'm trying to think of other things that you would have. Let me just open up his IMDb and check.
Just open it up.
Yeah. He was Agamemnon in Troy.
I never saw Troy.
Damn it.
I should have seen Troy. Brad Pitt was in Troy, and I wanted to see Troy, but I never got around to it.
He was in The Ring, babe.
I really didn't watch The Ring. That was when I fell asleep at the slumber party.
I mean, he's in so much stuff.
Don't know him from anything.
Well,
Guess he's not that big.
he was in The Long Kiss
I
Goodnight.
didn't know him.
I mean, the first thing I saw him in, definitely. The first thing I really remember Brian Cox from as a kid is, he was in Super Troopers. Yeah.
Never saw Super Troopers.
You're useless. Brian Cox is a big
I
actor.
told you he's
excellent.
never in anything. Not in anything good, at least.
Anyway, so
classics.
The thing that I love about this movie is, like I said, the structure is fantastic. This movie is basically situated around these father-son team of coroners who are performing an autopsy of a body that a Jane Doe. They don't know who it is or where it came from, and they're trying to open it up and determine the cause of death. Of course, the body has mystical weirdness, so weird things start happening, and it gets really spooky and scary. And but the movie is kind of segmented by the 4 stages of the autopsy. There's the external examination, and then they examine the heart and the lungs, and then I think the stomach, and then the last thing they examine is the brain. And that's kind of the structure that the movie adheres to as things start going crazy. As crazy as everything gets, everything always centers and returns back to Jane Doe, back to this body and the mystery that the body has. And it has a kind of a father-son story with Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, where their mother died, and he's kind of resentful of his dad, and like he feels like he's holding his life behind because he needs to make sure his dad's okay, and the resentment between their relationship there. There's a whole lot going on in this movie. And I think the greatest part of it, besides the gratuitous amount of gross factor, which I know you don't like, as they show the body being, this is probably the clearest image of an autopsy that you will ever see in film. That's not a real autopsy, because they show everything. But I think the secret weapon of this is Olrin Catherine Kelly, who plays Jane Doe, who plays the corpse. And this is a person that they had lying on the table for most of the movie.
That they let get cut open.
Well, they didn't really, babe.
No, they do. They really cut him open. They stitched him back together.
And she doesn't move. Spoilers. In this movie, she never moves. She's the source of all the crazy, scary stuff that's happening in this underground mortuary, but she's still the entire time, and she has one facial expression, but this one facial expression conveys so much evil, so much sinisterness. Like her mouth doesn't move, but when you look at her in certain things, you can say, she's smiling a little bit, isn't she? She's enjoying this, isn't she? And it's so creepy and wonderful, and I love it. I love her work. I love Jane Doe. I love the set that they constructed for this. I love the feeling, like we take some time to show how this underground place is kind of creepy even before the body gets here and weird stuff starts happening. Like it feels alive. It feels old and lived in, and there are noises and flashes, and even before things start to get weird. Oh, I love this movie so much. It's horror done exactly right. Like it's not redefining the genre. It's not doing anything new or special, but it's wonderful.
It's taking its definition and using it in the formula.
Yep. It's just executing well on the horror formula.
Except there is no execution of a person.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. There are a few executions. So Elyse, you don't like scary movies. Why don't you tell me what you thought of the Autopsy of Jane Doe?
I liked it all right.
We're gonna have to preface this with the fact that you were grading papers the entire time, so you really
grading papers in the daylight while watching the movie. Yes,
and I think this kept you from the scares really working on you, because I don't think there was a time when you felt.
No, I jumped.
Yeah, you jumped at one jump scare, but I don't like. To me, it never seemed like you felt like creeped out by this movie at all.
There were moments.
Like what? What were some moments?
I don't know if I was necessarily creeped out as much as I appreciated the suspense that had been built, like the bell thing.
Yeah,
like that was nice.
So
touch.
it is a really wonderful touch. Earlier in the movie, they introduced the concept of tying bells to cadavers, to make sure that, like in the old days, coroners used to do that to make sure that they didn't accidentally lock a person that was comatose in the morgue back before we could tell people were dead or not. And of course, they established that the bell's attached to a corpse, and later we start hearing the bell ring as the corpse shambles along, and it's really, really wonderful.
Yeah. And then the stuff with the mirror, that was kind of creepy too.
Yeah.
That was good. I don't know, the blood and that was like dripping out of the fridge. That was kind of weird, creepy.
So what'd you think of the movie though?
Oh, the movie. I mean, I liked the movie okay. There are other horror ones that I liked more. Like I really liked It Follows a lot more than I liked The Autopsy of Jane Doe. I did.
Okay. I think It Follows is a better movie. Yeah.
I mean, it was okay. It was good. I think the thing that I enjoyed most about this movie was that every single thing that they took time to explain in the beginning had a reason for the explanation during the like throughout it. And I appreciate that. And I think that it helps tie everything together really well. I love one thing in horror movies that they tend to do really well is music. And in this, the music was really good.
It was. And that's not something I usually notice. That's a very Elyse observation to have, because you notice scores way more than I do. I notice bad scores. When music is bad or doesn't work, that's when I notice it. When it's good and it works on me, it just kind of fades in the exact way it should. And I usually don't have a comment on it. But yeah, I think we played some of the score afterwards after you made that comment to me after we finished. And we listened to some of the music, and you're right. I mean, it's very good at quickly establishing discomfort, and music and sound is so important to horror. It's really, I would say, equally important to the visual, and I think that is something that this movie uses to its fullest effect.
I forget which movie we had watched. Maybe it was what was the one with all of the zombies, or not zombies, the thing, and it was the deaf child with the silence and John Krasinski.
A Quiet Place?
A Quiet Place. I couldn't think of it. I think that an effective use of sound that really builds suspense is almost as important as an effective use of silence. And that's what I think a lot of horror movies like to play around with, is the use of music to build suspense, but also the use of dead silence, because both of those things can make people extremely uncomfortable, especially silence. So when it is done well, then it does, like help a whole lot. In this one, I can't remember a lot of the silent moments.
There were some, though.
There were some, but the music was better for me.
One thing that I don't think this movie does, and I'm very thankful for it, is that one of the recent trends amongst horror movie is like silence and then like really fucking loud noise. And so it's not even like you're jumping because the thing is scary anymore. You're jumping just because it's a natural reaction to a really loud noise being thrown into your ear. And I mean, there are moments where the noise mix like kicks up as something scary happens and you do the thing, but it is not overbearing in a way it is in other movies. Like I think Stephen King's It that came out last year, I love that movie. I think it's a wonderful movie. It's a great adaptation. I think it leans into the loud noises thing a little too much. And I don't think this movie did that. And I liked it.
It didn't. It was really good. I probably wouldn't watch it a lot just because.
Well, I mean, I don't expect you to ever watch any of these things I'm making you watch ever again.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You're going to rewatch all of mine. I mean, at least the first two. You might not want to watch the other two.
So what I'm trying to do here is this is like, for me, this is like a tough thing to do, because I am in 4 weeks trying to give you examples of horror from different time periods and different types of horror. And I picked this one because, first of all, I wanted an excuse to watch it again. but also because I just think like this is the fundamentals of a horror film executed to near perfection. I think you're right that it's a very tight script. The everything that is set up pays off, and it is not like it is organically set up. Like it's not clear in the moment that like this is set up for this. It's just it's like they even like show an autopsy before Jane Doe shows up, so we get like the general gist. And the autopsy is used not only to give us the general gist of, you know, the procedures in an autopsy and how they determine cause of death and all that stuff, and like how an autopsy itself is a puzzle box that they're trying to solve, that it's not always the clear answer, but it also defines the relationship because he's kind of a dick to his son who doesn't get it right at first, and his son seems much more indifferent to the practice than he is. And I mean it's economy of storytelling. I love this movie. Everyone should see it. I think it didn't have a huge release, but I think it did pretty well. So if you haven't checked out The Autopsy of Jane Doe, I really strongly suggest you do it.
Why is the thing a puzzle piece?
What?
Why is her face a puzzle piece on the poster?
Because it's a puzzle. What was?
But there was like no puzzle, I guess.
It's
just trying to figure out.
It's a metaphor.
I guess
there's not like a literal jigsaw puzzle, but like it's her body is the puzzle. Like
I guess
the whole structure of the film is, hey, as we examine this body, there's a whole bunch of weird shit in it that don't make any sense. Her legs are broken, her wrists are broken, but there's no exterior damage. Her lungs are burned, but there's no sense of burning. She's got weird stuff in her stomach, like weird symbols. Her skin is tattooed on the inside with weird creepy symbols.
Yeah, I mean, sure, whatever.
Sure. That's the Elyse is referring to. I have a Autopsy of Jane Doe poster in my room hung up on the wall, and that's what she's referring to.
Yeah, there's a silhouette of a face, but it's a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
But other than that figurative, I guess, meaning of the puzzle, there's no other puzzle.
But that's the whole. What do you mean other than? That's it.
I'm
that's
just
it.
saying. Like
That's
someone's
the whole
gonna
thing.
see the puzzle and then they're gonna be like, "Oh, it's a game. Oh, where's the puzzle?" And they're gonna watch it and they're gonna be like, "Where's the puzzle?
You know,
She's not the missing piece."
This is why movie posters these days have no artistic value to them because of consumers like that, comments like that, where they just put faces on posters.
Exactly.
It's not
You
good,
know why
Elyse.
people go
It's
to the
not
movies?
good, Elyse.
For the actors.
No, we're
That's why
better
I
than
go.
that. No, you don't.
No, that's why I go.
No.
Yeah.
No.
You know why I'm gonna go see First Man? Ryan Gosling and Claire Foy.
That's it.
You know why I want to go see Bad Times at the El Royale? Because Chris Hemsworth.
Well, I don't blame you for Chris Hemsworth. He's half naked throughout the entire movie.
I mean, you gotta sell movies somehow.
All right, Elyse, that's it for The Autopsy of Jane Doe, a wonderful movie that I believe is available for rent just about anywhere. Any streaming service has this movie for rent, so check it out. And now it's time to move on to the second movie.
The better
Elise's movie.
The movie that's not so scary. It is The Bad Seed, the 1956 movie directed by Mervyn LeRoy and written by John LeMahian, based off of a play by Maxwell Anderson about a housewife that suspects her seemingly perfect 8-year-old daughter is a heartless killer. The heartless killer, Rhoda Penmark, played by none other than Patty McCormick.
In her first role, right? Because
Her
it says
first role.
introducing Patty McCormick.
Her first television role. She did play the role on Broadway.
Her first film role.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Nancy Kelly is Christine Penmark. Those are the two big ones.
Yeah.
It's the original Broadway cast that they
It is cool that they did that.
for the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So, Elyse, tell me about this weird ass movie that you made us watch.
I mean, I don't remember when we watched it. It was one of those like TV movies that had come on, and I'm sure we were doing cleaning or something around the house. Are you asking how I like this sort of thing, or are you asking about the movie in general?
Both, babe. Tell me your
Okay.
tell me your
So we
story.
were probably doing something like that, and then the movie came on, and my mom was like, "Oh, it's The Bad Seed," and that's probably how it came about. And evidently, it was me and Adrian that watched it, because when my little sister came in town, I was telling her that we were going to watch this one, and I was asking her if she remembered it, and she goes, that wasn't really me. That was more of you and Adrian. So I was like, "Oh, okay," but basically, we thought it was really creepy, and then we thought that the little girl was pretty insane for going back and killing those people, and then going up to her mother and being like, "I have the prettiest mother in all the world."
Yeah.
And she would just like rub her mother's face and get like these weird eyes, and then rub her mother's neck and say, "Oh, I just have the prettiest mother in all the world." And so we would joke around and do that to my mom. And then
That's
sometimes
normal.
if we wanted to like really freak our sisters out, we did that to Meredith too. "Oh, I have the prettiest sister in all the world." And it would really kind of freak her out, and it was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So that's why I remember The Bad Seed. It's basically just for the prettiest mother in all the world joke that we would always do.
So what's So this is a creepy kid movie.
Yes.
I love creepy kid movies.
Yeah.
I think kids are creepy as hell.
Yeah.
So when they make creepy kid movies, it's really great. Most people probably have not seen this movie, but they probably have seen a movie from the 90s called The Good Son, starring Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood, which is very loosely based off this movie. Basically, Macaulay Culkin plays a psychopath kid that murders people, just like
Kids can do
just like
that
Patty
too.
McCormick did
Yeah.
in this movie. So yeah, I mean, I had never seen this movie before. I didn't even know really anything about it. Apparently, they're making a new version this year.
Yeah, you said that they're doing a TV movie with Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe
and
is
so it's
directing
not
and starring. Yeah.
The mom is not the one that has the suspicions of the child. It's going to be the dad.
Yeah. So the concept of this movie is their father goes away. He works for the military, but he's in DC. They never really explain why. He's just gone. So
This is the remake that's this year, not the one that I talked about. Or are you talking about?
I'm talking
the
about this movie.
I thought you were talking about Rob Lowe.
No, I haven't seen
Okay.
that one. I don't know anything about
Well,
that
I didn't
one.
know what you were talking about. I thought you had read about it. And I had talked about it, right? Or do you want me to explain more of the movie?
You didn't really say anything about
I
the
talked
movie.
about that, and then I hadn't gone to the other part. But
Okay,
you
well
can
then go
continue.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, well, Scott was doing a wonderful job of explaining about how the dad had gone to work in DC, so the mom is left with a child, and the child is very upset that she does not win the penmanship award at school.
Yes.
She wants this gold medal, and she's not getting the gold medal, and it is not fair that she does not get the gold medal.
She deserved it.
She did. And so she went to the picnic, and she gave the guy that got the medal what she thought he deserved. And so she, killed the little boy. She beat him over the head with her shoes. And we know it was her shoes because of the taps.
Yeah, because she
Yes.
has little pieces of metal attached to her
Yes.
shoes. Yeah.
And then, she ends up getting discovered by the handyman that's in the building. And so then she ends up killing Leroy because
his name is Leroy.
No, his name is Leroy.
No,
The whole movie they say Leroy.
No,
so let me say
several people say Leroy.
No, it's Leroy.
It's Leroy.
Okay, Leroy.
It's Leroy.
I had a discussion today. Some student said, I'm sorry, I think it's either, not either. And I said,
And did you say you can pronounce
said-
it either way?
tomato, envelope, caramel, caramel, pecan. You can pronounce things. And then he's like,
But I mean, it's Leroy, and I think Leroy. Leroy would be capital LE, capital ROY.
isn't that what
That's what the director's name
yeah,
is.
so that's why they're saying Leroy, because it's the director's last name. So
Why are we arguing about this? It's stupid.
Anyway, so Leroy, he dies, and then the mother is suspicious, and she realizes that she'd always had this thought that she was actually adopted and didn't really belong to her family, and then it turns out that she is the daughter of a serial killer, and so the whole other line to the movie is is that sort of behavior hereditary, or is it
Right.
the whole nature versus nurture thing?
Well,
with
and this
it?
was 1956, and this was right on the cusp of us really starting to only briefly understand like the psychology behind mass murderers and like where that stuff comes from. Is it hereditary?
Are some of them just a bad seed?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's like this movie for the 50s. It's pretty out there. I mean, for 1956, this is a little girl like that is just evil, and like she is creepy and completely unapologetic. Doesn't even seem to fully understand that she's done anything wrong.
She just wanted the gold medal. She deserved it, so she got it. However, she thought she could.
And then stupid Leroy wouldn't give her back her shoes.
I'm sorry, Leroy.
Give me back them shoes. I'm not gonna give you them shoes back. Give me them shoes. That goes on for like 5 minutes.
I thought you didn't do it, and now I know you did.
And that's, I mean, the most interesting part of this for me is the mother is basically the main character in the story. And it's her kind of psychologically dealing with the fact that I might have passed, like, first of all, dealing with the fact that my kid is murdering people, and dealing with the fact that, and it's possibly my fault in her mind. It's something that she got passed down, and we learned that is the case, right? That she was the daughter of
a serial killer. Never caught. Yeah.
And so she's passed that on to her daughter, which she absolutely has. So like the movie is like kind of the mother, you know, just losing it and breaking down as it becomes more and more apparent that yes, my daughter actually did these things. The thing that struck me about this film immediately was it's creepy, like from the get-go. Like you have this really like normal kind of nuclear family, and the father's leaving to go to work, and the music is just so ominous. Like it's so over the toply ominous, and he's just like, you don't know anything at this point, and the music is just really playing up like be concerned. Like this is like something's weird here, and you're just like immediately uncomfortable, and the movie really never lets you go from that. Like it like I do think, I will say, I think this movie's a little too long.
It was a long movie, especially for 1956. It was really
but this
long.
is a very like 50s paced movie. I mean, this is how these movies doled out. Like this is a movie about it's based on a play,
and I wonder
so
how
it's
much
people
they
having
adapted.
long conversations.
You know, they probably kept it pretty close to the play, especially if they had the original cast.
Yeah, I think they probably did. And like that, we were joking about the "Give Me Them Shoes." That does go on for a long time.
It does.
And so while
he doesn't give her the shoes.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that this was the perfect movie. I did really enjoy that it went for it. Like, it's so funny. Our two movies are 60 years apart, and my movie is bloody, violent, crude, disgusting, and your movie isn't any of those things.
No, there's no blood.
But it is unsettling. It is unnerving. It is horror. This is absolutely a horror film. And
it's on the top 100 list of horror movies.
And it is all off the back of this little girl of Patty McCormick, a very famous actress who had a big role here.
I think she was nominated.
I think she was. I was very curious about what the public reaction to this movie was, because there's this whole PSA at the start of the movie that's like, this movie is probably going to make you uncomfortable. Stick with it, and don't just be warned. And part of that's probably the marketing and the advertising to kind of play up the movie. But I was like, I didn't see any real controversy that surrounded this movie, but it did get nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards. This was, I think, the biggest movie, one of the biggest, if not one of the biggest movies of the year it came out. So it did very well. I do think this is very much in a time where people are kind of scared. Like there's scares in the 50s about like things we were just starting to understand and what it means and what's changing. And this idea of like this very kind of suburban horror of my kid, like it's my kid. Yeah. And I really like that kind of story. There's a book called Defending Jacob that I read And
I have not read that.
it kind of deals with similar themes. It's a lawyer whose son gets charged with murder, and he's defending his son in court. And the book is kind of about the father wrestling with the fact that, like
His
this
son could have done
like this
something.
movie, his father was a terrible human, a murderer, and he's worried that he passed this on to his son, and what is nature and what is nurture, and it's dealing with very similar kind of issues. And I think the reason was because this is something that we think about a lot. Like one of the scariest things about having kids is, what are we going to pass on to them? Will I pass on my strengths? Will I pass on my weaknesses? Will they be better than me? I hope so. And I think that's what gets at the core of this movie, and I think that's why it is both unsettling and good. And I've talked a lot. Sorry, it's your movie, but I've talked a whole lot.
It's okay. You just have to process it sometimes. I've already processed it.
I love to talk.
You do love to talk.
I do.
I love to listen, so I guess that just means that I'm quiet sometimes.
That's why we work, babe.
So you can just...
I can just talk,
Yeah.
and you just look at like, yeah, good point, Scott.
Yes.
That's very excellent.
Now let me repeat something back so that it seems as though I was listening more than I actually am.
You wouldn't do that to me.
I would never. But I do really like this movie. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I was very creeped out the first time that I saw it. And
I mean, I think the music really pushes you towards that.
Yeah.
Like with my movie, this is from the get-go, man. Like I remember, like, I turned to you and was like, what is happening? Why is the music doing this?
Yeah. It's not, though, I don't know. I feel like horror movies today are very very gory. And
Yes.
this is, like, you don't see any of them get killed.
No.
You know, it is all off screen. You don't see, like, any sort of even weapon, you know, like at the end, whenever the mom, you know, attempts suicide, we don't see it. We just hear a shot. And,
Yeah.
you know, that might be also, I guess, the time. Maybe they weren't supposed to show
No, they
that
couldn't
on
do that.
screen,
I
which
mean,
is why,
that's one thing
I had
that's-
talked to you about the end of the movie where...
spoilers for the end of
yes, the
a
spoilers for the
60-year-old
end.
movie.
If in the play, the little girl lives, and in the movie, she dies. And that was because it's the Hays Code, is what you said. I don't remember the name of it. But, sorry. So according to that, the criminal, the person that was, you know, like causing everything, was not supposed to win in the end.
Yeah, there were very
yeah.
strict morality codes around Hollywood, especially in this time, as kind of there was a pushback to the wild and crazy way of Hollywood, and they were worried that Hollywood was destroying the country, so they put in very strict guidelines. And one of those was criminals cannot get away with their crimes. Like that, movies cannot allow them to do that. If you have a criminal doing a bad thing, he must be punished for his bad thing. And of course, that goes away in the 60s. But yeah, the movie ends. It's kind of abrupt. Like you can tell they just kind of threw it on because they had to.
They did. So the little girl goes down to the pier where she killed the little boy, and she gets struck by lightning.
Yeah, 'cause she's going back to look for her medal, right? 'Cause she's looking for the prize, the medal, the penmanship medal, the instigator of this whole thing. And her mom has told her she's thrown the medal in the water where they found the little boy, because she at this point she's like desperately wrestling with the fact, should I protect my daughter? Should I turn my daughter in? Should I kill her myself?
Yeah.
And she gets rid of the medal to get rid of the evidence. And the little girl is so obsessed with it that she goes down there, and it's almost as if God himself smites her down, because she's just standing there and lightning hits the pier and the pier explodes. And then it just goes, the end. And then it does this really weird thing afterwards. Sorry, go ahead and talk. No, go ahead.
No.
It does like a curtain call, like it's a play. Like they all come back out onto the stage, and like there's an announcer that talks to us sitting at home and says, "Here's the cast," and reads their names, and they come out. And then the little girl comes out again, and the mother runs in and bends the girl over her lap and then smacks her on the bottom to be like, "Ha ha, she's being punished for the murders."
Yeah.
that
And
she
that's
did.
how the play ends, is
Yeah.
having the curtain call, because she lives in the play. And so in order to have the audience at least feel slightly better about the fact that she lives, she gets a spanking in the end.
That's such a 50s thing, is the appropriate
Yeah.
punishment for double homicide is Just a good old smacking on the bottom.
Yeah, that corporal punishment does wonders, doesn't
Especially when they're like in the movie, like they're laughing as they do it. Like
Yeah.
it's a big joke. It's just like, okay.
it? Yeah.
But yeah, that's The Bad Seed. I enjoyed that. Thank you for sharing that with me.
I'm glad you did.
It's interesting. Like, I am fascinated by the movies you watched as a kid because we watched very different kinds of movies. But then
Yeah.
every so often there's a movie that was like, really, this wasn't a popular Elyse movie as a kid. I think mine are fairly bog standard for a young male film fan, but yours surprised me. And that's one of the things I like so much about doing this podcast.
I'm just like that puzzle piece on that poster.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, Elyse.
Yes.
That is it for this week's movies. Next week, we are doing more horror.
Yes. Well, it's not really horror.
Well,
Mine's
doing
not really
more
horror.
So, Elyse.
Yes. What are you going to make me watch?
You want me to do first?
Yes, please.
So, here's the deal. We got 2 more weeks, and I already know what my final film is going to be.
Oh, me too.
So, I decided I can't leave this thing without doing a Wes Craven movie, and you have not seen A Nightmare on Elm Street. So, that's what I'm going to do. Wes Craven's A Nightmare on Elm Street. The original, the one with Johnny Depp in it. But it's his first role. It was his first role. I have a long history with the Elm Street movies, and I can't wait to talk all about it. So, and I can't wait for you to experience it. So that is what my movie is going to be. I think it came out in 1983, but we'll talk about that next week.
Okay.
What did you decide to do?
So I actually had to look before I picked this movie. So I looked like 2-3 weeks ago whenever I was coming up with my lineup to see if this was available, because I had looked up movies that had these people in it.
No.
For,
this is gonna be really fucking
for a while, and just no luck. There's barely anything, despite how large their franchise and power is. So we're gonna watch the Mary-Kate and Ashley movie, Double Double Toil and Trouble. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh yes, I'm so excited.
Oh my God.
It's great. It's been a long time since I've seen that. I'm so excited.
Me too.
It was
babe.
available on Prime Video. I can rent it.
I can't.
They'll have that on there, but they don't have Two of a Kind. I'm going to be really upset about that.
I can't
it's
believe
fine.
I have to build artwork for next week's show that on the one half has Freddy fucking Krueger on it, and on the other has Mary-Kate and Ashley.
It's going to be brilliant.
Oh my God. Okay, well, that's next week. I will be doing A Nightmare on Elm Street. Elyse will be doing Double Double Toil and Trouble.
Yes.
That's going to be an interesting episode.
I think it's going to be wonderful.
But that's all we have time for this week. If you like this podcast, you can check it and all the other shows we do out at doofmedia.com. That's DOOF media.com. Also, Elyse, consider donating to our Patreon account.
Why do I have to consider donating?
I don't know. You just help us out, maybe?
No, I don't need to donate.
You can donate $1 a month or whatever else you can afford to help pay for our shows, pay for the hosting, pay for all these. We're going to have to rent Double Toil and Trouble, so you can help pay for that. There's all kinds of great bonuses and rewards you get for becoming a patron. So head on over to patreon.com/doofmedia to find out more. And thanks for all your support, everyone. All you guys listen to this that are supporting us, thanks a bunch.
Is there a Patreon commercial Patreon
No,
jingle?
no, there's
No?
not. I don't believe so.
Oh, well,
Would
I'm
you
gonna
like?
start
You
doing
should
it.
invent one. I think that'd be good for you. Yeah.
Patreon.
Not right now.
That's what we're
Don't do it
starting with right now.
Um,
We're gonna workshop it.
Also, Elyse really wants to read some new reviews. So if you are listening to this podcast,
do.
if you right now are sitting, I don't know, in your cubicle, at the gym,
Just if you're sitting,
in the car,
not in the car. I don't want you to review and drive.
and if you are listening on an Apple iPhone device, head to Apple Podcasts, head to their site, log in, leave a rating, leave a review, tell Elyse what funny voice to read it in, and she will do a bad job of that, but it will probably be pretty funny.
I can try and talk in my deepest voice possible.
Don't go back to that again. We don't need callback humor here. Oh, here we go. Her posture just changed. We're doing it.
No, not anymore. You made fun of me.
I didn't make fun of you. I mean, I did, but that's kind of the show.
Make fun of Elyse?
Yeah.
No, the show is make fun of Scott.
I don't know if that's true.
It's make fun of Scott.
All right, guys. We will see you next week.
Tober.
Ow, on my ears.
Poop.
That wasn't even that loud.
Poop.
That was too loud. Halfway in between those two.
Poop. 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 And diarrhea. Poop. And diarrhea. Poop.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to make a song about poop.
Why?
I don't know. Why not?